Do you think the way that people view you have changed since you've turned into an atheist?
Definitely. I mean, I'm definitely the black sheep of I mean, anyone who leaves the church, no matter what they do, they're always going to be a black sheep in that church. You know, they've left. They've kind of forsaken everyone else.
Do you still keep in touch with people from the church?
I'd like to a bit more, but I don't. But yeah, they don't. I don't see them having good. They're not really on great terms with me anymore. I mean, there's people who I was very. I mean, there's girls who I spoke to quite often when I was there, and they don't want to fucking speak to me anymore.
How does that make you feel?
Pisses me off because I'm the same person I was.
Does that change your opinion on them?
Oh man, yeah, it does. It does because when you're there, they're right. You know, when you're there and you're part of that, they're right, and you think, oh, there's nothing wrong with them. But now, you see, once I've came out of that, I see it's kind of a bit of a personality flaw in them. I don't know if it's in me. I'm not sure. So, as I said before, I've still got the same kind of morals and beliefs I had when I was a kid, even now. It's just now I've got politics to kind of back up those beliefs instead of religion, which was flawed. They definitely see me as a dark wolf though. They don't like. I don't know if they don't like me. They still like me. They just want me back. Oh, that sounds quite egotistical a bit, saying they want me back, but that's the ultimate aim for all of them. They want to convert everyone. So, and they think that, you know, there's a chance that I'll come back and I'll be a Christian again, which is, I don't know, unless it's the bloody, what's it called?
2012.
Not 2012.
The rapture.
The rapture, sorry, yeah. Unless that happens now, I don't think it's going back to it. Although there won't be much to go back to if the rapture happened now. What do you reckon this is? About 30-degree angle. Gotta be, I think.
Must be.
Must be possible.
How would you describe yourself, Daniel?
Well, I'm an ex-Christian, really found atheist, a socialist, leftist. I would describe myself as an evolutionist, a dialectical materialist, which is believing that the world is in a state of flux constantly. Everything's changing all in one time. You know, it's right down to the very smallest thing. I'd say that's really changed my beliefs over the last couple of years.
And when did you start believing in stuff like that? Would you say you were a Christian when you started believing in stuff like that?
No, I've always been kind of a socialist at heart, even when I was a Christian. In fact, that's probably why I became a socialist afterwards, because it's all about, you know, looking after the poor, all that kind of stuff, which I really didn't find in Christianity when I kind of studied it to my own understanding, got to my own understanding with it. And seeing that what kind of works the church has done over the past few hundred years, has kind of really cemented this belief in socialism into me.
Why did you become a Christian?
Well, I was born one. I'd say I was born one really, but my dad was a pastor in Scarborough. And we travelled around with him. I lived in Ireland for a few years, pastoring around with him. I'd say that he lost his faith when his best friend died of cancer a few years ago. And that's definitely had a hit on me because he stopped going to church altogether, that kind of stuff. Whereas I was going to church week in, week out for a number of years.
So you say it was your family that made you become a Christian?
It wasn't made me become, but when you're 5 years old and they tell you, oh, where am I from? Where's that tree from? God created it. You ain't gonna question that, are you? Just believe it.
So you started to believe in other things when?
Probably after, because when you're a Christian, you're always supposed to have a relationship with God. That's probably the main thing about Christianity. It's probably one of the fundamental things about having a relationship with Jesus. And it was only a one-way relationship where I would talk and he wouldn't for the entire relationship I had with this non-existent being.
Was it a gradual change into like atheism, or did it just happen?
Definitely, because I always question. As I said before, I constantly was watching videos on YouTube about debating Christians and atheists and that kind of thing. And I suppose the atheist, when they make a lot of sense, but because I don't know if it's my naivety or just brainwashed, just pure brainwash, that it kind of washed over me, even though it's talking sense, talking science, it washed over me because I was a Christian and they weren't, and my people are right and they're wrong in my opinion. Well, in my opinion now. So yeah, just they were kind of just brainwashed. And what I was saying about YouTube. Well, these guys talking about evolution and kind of stuff. Eventually, I kind of thought, yeah, I can be a Christian and be an evolutionist. You know, it just gradually broke bigger and bigger the gap in me until I finally just said. It was so weird actually, because I went from being, 2 years ago I would have said, if I become an atheist, I'll commit suicide. I couldn't live with myself if I was an atheist. And then it's kind of just worn me down, and since, well, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Whether I'm an atheist or a Christian, it doesn't matter anymore.
What are your actual beliefs then now?
Atheist. I don't know. I can't really
evolutionism and things like that?
Yeah, I'm an evolutionist. Big Bang I believe in the Big Bang Theory, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of Christians who do as well, and that's not really it is an argument against God if you look down to the bare core of it.
Did any of your friends at the church know that you believed in that?
Oh, I had a few arguments with some people, but it was kind of like underground. I didn't make it public, really. I was having those kind of beliefs until I really did. I went to my pastor's house, and he lives at the top of the road, in Oakham Road, which is a nice big house, 5 bedrooms, 3 building nice cars. And I was asking him, I'm having some real problems with faith and stuff. I really don't think I believe in God anymore. He's saying what kind of questions I said I've been coming into this Marxism kind of thing. And he was talking to me about, you can't say like this is all built for us because the sun's so far away from the earth is so far away from the sun that if there wasn't any, if we were any closer we'd all die, and if we were far away. And I said to him, well, that's an argument for the atheist as well, because it had to be like that for humanity to evolve and all of life on Earth to evolve. And he looked at me blankly. He's not really, none of them are really like scientifically educated. They might have a little bit because they're supposed to debate against people who like evolutionists, that kind of thing. But they didn't really have an answer for me. And I suppose I've become more and more of a, an amateur scientist really after I've break from Christianity, because I want to know more. I'm always reading. I just want to know more. I'd like to become God status. You know what I mean?
You like you just had a cigarette just then.
Yeah.
If you were still a Christian, would you think you'd be doing stuff like that, like smoking and?
I still drank when I was a Christian, as you know.
But you sort of slowed down a little bit as you started to become more and more of a Christian. You slowed down, and then I remember you sort of broke away from Christianity, and you really wanted to go out and party and things like that.
For a couple of years, for the few years that I was wasting it.
But do you think you'd be smoking if you were a Christian?
I didn't think I'd smoke even if I was an atheist. But
what changed?
I had a cigarette. It changed. And then I wanted it actually. But,
are you addicted, would you say?
Definitely. That's what I regret it. It's a bad addiction as well, man. My lungs are crackling.
So you know it's bad, but you carry on. Are there any other things? Are there any habits that you picked up after breaking away from Christianity?
Any other habits? No, I'd say I'm the same good person. I've still got the same morals and beliefs I had before, really. But I'm just not a Christian.
What are your thoughts on Christians now?
It depends entirely on what kind of Christian you're talking to, because the church that I went to down the road, they really modelled them. So they came from a really small Baptist church who, used to 30 or 40 members, weekly. They kind of thought themselves, there's this big church here also in Australia. It's kind of a big American church, although it's in Australia. It's a big kind of, as you'd see in Texas or something. They have churches there which, thousands upon thousands of people turn in every week. I watched an interview a few days with one of them, really. and I think it was by Darren Brown actually, but he was trying to expose them, and one of them turned up on a massive flipping jet. You know, that's the congregation's money. He's turned up in a jet, and I think that's another thing that really pissed me off about the church I was going to. Their kind of attitude to money, and what they were saving for it. I mean, they live in a big, massive house. Every other part of the membership in the church lived in 3-bedroom houses. Average people. They bought a £3 million building, and were begging for money while they're sitting and flipping, eating off China plates and stuff like that, living the high life. And after spending £3 million, really, I don't really see the church as being a community hub, which is what it should be. Which is what it should be there, like offering community services, you know, helping out with a lot of young people and that kind of stuff. And it really didn't do that. I mean, now you're probably still going to see in a bit, but they built a massive sign, like £3,000 or £4,000. I'm not sure. It might be more than that. I think it was several £1,000 actually, but it was a lot of money. I mean, they could have done so much with that in the community, especially when they run a soup kitchen, which is under budget. They could have done so much with it. And they're trying to get grants off people and other people to pay for it when they are making so much money, really.
As you see there, they've got a food truck there which they take out food every Thursday to kind of need in my opinion, that should be intensified by a lot. You know, when they can afford to do this kind of stuff. That's just politics, really, I suppose.
So what would you say, like, your beliefs were when you did go to this church?
Well, I was a full-on Christian, you know. I believed that Jesus was the Saviour. He died 2,000 years ago, on a cross. And then he died for our sins.
Can you see how, like, dramatic the change is, though?
Oh yeah, it's massive. Well, as I said before, you know, life's in a constant state of change. You're always going to be influenced by different things that different people you meet, different things you read. Yeah.
Do you think the way that people view you have changed since you've turned into an atheist?
Definitely. In my opinion, life is about getting more and more answers.